everyone, we are currently inside of our reticulated python enclosure in our zoo, and today we're going to be introducing you to all of the biggest snakes at Snake Discovery. First of all, we may as well start with the biggest snake, or one of the biggest snakes in our zoo. This is Baby Spice. Baby Spice is a reticulated python, a full-on mainland, so she is the big species, as you can see here. She is in her mid-20s. She's actually a retired breeder retic who's just enjoying retirement life here in our zoo.
Yeah.
But she's a big sweetheart. She's actually been on the Jason show before. Big old head. Oh, she's gonna...
Please, God, don't let her come toward me. Please, God, don't let her come toward me. It's over. You can turn. Yes.
And she is one of the original snakes in our zoo.
Yeah, she's been here since the beginning.
The very beginning, yeah. She eats a rabbit every month or so, like an 8 to 10 pound rabbit. She eats frozen thawed, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And she often will grab it from the tongs. Sometimes she likes to be drop fed, kind of depends on the day. But it's always a fun time to watch her swallow a huge rabbit in person. So we always try to do it when people are in the zoo.
She's the first big cage you see as you walk into the zoo.
Yeah!
And a lot of times she's not sitting here because she's a diva and she doesn't want to be warm, apparently.
Yeah, she loves hiding behind her rock in the back corner.
Yeah, back over there.
Which is the only spot where you can't see her. So I'm glad she's out today for you all to see.
Yeah.
But check out how big she is. Her head fits, it's like bigger than my hand. And this girl is technically a senior. We hope to have her for a long time. But because of her age, she's a big girl. She's about 18 feet long and about 120 pounds. So it takes a few people, 2 to 3 people, to take her out of the enclosure and move her somewhere else. Not that we really do that often.
No.
Since she's so old, we just like to let her relax and enjoy life.
Let her do her own thing.
Yeah, she's
which
such
sometimes
a good girl.
is just being cold for some reason.
They're weird sometimes, but I like having such a big snake in the zoo because you can really see all of the incredible features that snakes have, including the heat pits right here. These are the biggest heat pits you will see just because of her sheer size. And because she's an albino, she has these gorgeous yellow, white, and even lavender colors to her scales. You're a good girl. Yeah, you're such a pretty girl. Next up, we have Chica, our Burmese python. We've had her since a little baby. We had her shipped to us back in 2019, and she was so itty bitty, so cute. And Chica here is now 6 years old, a nice adult female. I mean, she still has some growing to do, but since we've been handling her entire life just about, she is one of the friendliest Burmese pythons I personally know.
I mean, also Burms are generally friendly because they're too dumb to know any different.
There's not much going on in her brain, but that makes her extra cute. So she's got that going for her too. She's an excellent eater, which is another trait for Burmese pythons. They really like food.
Yeah, she's also hanging back this way, so I'm like, there we go. There's the rest of her.
Yeah, she's, I don't know, 8 feet long? Let's see, if she's
you're
down
about
there.
6. I'd say 8.
Yeah, so probably 8 feet long. Between 8 and 9, I guess I would say. Weight-wise, she's probably about 35 pounds.
Yeah.
Everybody always over-exaggerates the weight of snakes. So usually when someone's like, this snake is 150 pounds, half it, and then, or maybe even bring it down to a third, and then it's more accurate, but she is honestly about 35 pounds, I would say, which is not too bad, unless you're doing a 2-mile parade with her.
Yeah.
She's my parade buddy. We do parades in the area where we blast the Anaconda song on our snake mobile. Yes. And I walk along the road with Chica, and hundreds of people get to pet her. She also does tons of educational programs here, from birthday parties to library programs, and everybody loves Chica.
She's also one, if you do visit our zoo, you can ask for her to come out to be pet.
Yes, depending on the day and the time. We're going to try our best, can't guarantee it. But everybody does get an opportunity to hold an animal in our zoo nowadays. That's a new update that not many people know. And she is held almost every day by people in our zoo.
I guess when I said that, I said you can request it.
Yes, you can request it.
If she hasn't been out yet, you can get her.
She came from a very lovely family who originally had her in Florida before it was illegal to own these, and the kids of the family named her Boom Chica, so that is technically her full name, but we just call her Chica for short. Chica, where are you going?
I'm in a belt.
Hi. Are you a belt now? Oh, that's terrible, because it's Burmese python skin that they use as belts and purses, isn't it?
She's a live belt,
Yeah, this is a cruelty-free Burmese python belt. Everyone will probably recognize my next big snake, Doug the boa. Doug is now retired, but he is one of the OG reptiles to Snake Discovery, and he joined me on my very first program, which was a birthday party for my sister back in the day. He has since then done thousands of educational programs, but since he's in his mid-20s, just like Baby Spice, he is also now retired and enjoying his senior living home in our zoo.
He also fathered a clutch last year.
He did, yeah, now he's a dad.
Yeah.
A really old-aged father, but that's okay.
That's all right.
He doesn't mind. What I find interesting is he's growing more speckles or freckles in his old age.
Yeah, you know, everybody
Have you
grows
noticed
more
that?
freckles as they age.
Like, he's always been kind of freckly, but he's getting a lot of freckles.
Yeah, look at that. He used to have a clean head.
He did, at least semi-clean. But this boy and I go way, way back. Like, Doug and one of our map turtles are some of the only two OG reptiles to Snake Discovery that we still have, just because of old age reasons. But Doug, once, when we had our old house and had all the animals in our house, wedged himself between his cave and the front glass and flexed his muscles and burst the glass door and then escaped. And we found glass everywhere the following morning when we went downstairs. But thankfully, a 7-foot-long snake can't hide very well.
I don't think he even went very far.
We found him under the couch.
Yeah, he was
right
like
next to
2
the cage.
feet away from the cage.
Yeah, that's all it was. But unfortunately, during that incident, he did scrape his nose. This is a pretty common injury to boa constrictors, it seems. We see it in the rescue a lot. All they have to do is flex their muscles, they burst the glass, and it always seems to scrape them right here, and then it becomes a scar. That seems to be his only imperfection nowadays, though. He's a great, healthy snake otherwise. Very polite gentleman.
I also think he played you. I think he used to pretend to be more limp than he is. Now that he's in the zoo and not being used, he's like, that worked.
He kind of is acting younger again, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
We retired him because it looked like he was not holding himself up, which is a sign of old age. But yeah, I don't really see that anymore.
Maybe he just needed a lady.
Maybe, that's all he needed.
Yeah.
He is so friendly that I am often, when I did programs with him, I was able to show off his teeth by just lifting up his lips here, because at least it's been a little while, bud. There we go. I was always able just to spread his lips like this, and he didn't mind. Kind of show where the teeth are recessed into the gums, and he's good to go. Doesn't seem to mind.
Yeah, still, to this day.
Doug here, though, again, lives in our zoo because he is an old man and he is retired, which means we did have to replace him. You can't have the keys, Doug, sorry. We did have to replace him in our programs. We always end our educational programs with a big snake, whether it's Chica the Burmese, or nowadays, it's instead of Doug, we now use Carl the boa constrictor. Carl here is a hypomorph, so he looks a little bit different in both color and pattern. He is just as friendly as Doug is, though. Even in shed, his eyes are a little bit blue right now, but he's not head shy, like he is following in Doug's footsteps, or slither steps, I suppose.
Yeah.
But this guy's a good eater.
In his scutes.
In his scutes, I like that. Carl now, instead of Doug, does hundreds of programs every year. Probably about 400 programs a year, I would say.
Yeah, it's probably a good, maybe even more than that.
Maybe even more, because we do 6 birthday parties a weekend, and he's in most of them.
Yeah.
But he has been held by so many kids around their shoulders, and with a name like Carl, which is what we did with Doug, a single syllable, just goofy, plain old human name. Carl. That kind of a name is very approachable for kids who are a little bit nervous around snakes.
Yeah.
But just his name has helped a lot of kiddos get over a fear of snakes. Carl is about 7 years old, if I remember correctly. He was a surrender to our adoption program years ago, and we noticed right away how friendly he was and how big he already was. He's grown a little bit too in our care. But that was about the same time we were thinking about retiring Doug anyway, so it just worked out perfectly to keep him and replace Doug. So yeah, this is now Carl, our program boa. Next up is who I think is our newest big snake species at Snake Discovery. This is Dwayne the rock python. Dwayne actually was from a confiscation case.
Yeah, he was from that case.
That video, yeah, where we actually helped the local police in confiscating reptiles that had been neglected in a house. We actually went with them to take the animals out of some pretty sad conditions. Dwayne here was very skinny when he first came in, and with him being so skinny, he was also very friendly. So we're like,
uncommon for this species of snake.
This is the African rock python, the largest species of snake in Africa, and they're known for having attitudes. So they're pretty unusual to find in captivity. Not many people keep them just because they get so big and they're usually so angry all the time. But we thought because he was neglected and so skinny, that's probably why he was so friendly. But as you can see, he's a great weight now, and he's still really friendly. So we're gonna hold him a lot so that he stays this friendly. He's actually an ambassador now now for us, which will make him get held a lot and continue to stay socialized. His only flaw is that his right eye, I'll show you, his right eye looks normal. See, kind of normal size python eye.
Looks right to me.
But his left eye is teeny tiny.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's blind because it's also offset, like it's looking downward. I'm pretty sure he is blind in his left eye, but he eats great, he's friendly, he's curious, he finds his warm ends just fine.
I mean, when you have a second sense of sight, essentially, with heat,
Yeah, with
I don't
heat
think
bits.
you need both eyes.
Yeah, true. But he is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to stress him out because, again, he's a friendly rock python, which is so unusual. But he's this beautiful golden color. We feed him once every couple of weeks. He takes frozen thawed rats for us. And since he was so skinny and malnourished when we first got him, he really liked food and has continued to really like food, which I think is kind of this species just likes food anyway.
Yeah.
But being half starved definitely made him like food even more. African rock pythons, being, again, Africa's largest species of snake, grow to 10 to 16 feet, depending on male or female. Females typically get larger than males, so they actually get a similar size as Burmese pythons.
Yep.
They're not going to get quite as heavy as anacondas or quite as long as reticulated pythons, but they're still a really big species of snake, so we can't wait to watch this guy grow up.
How big is he now?
That's a good question. I don't know if we've actually measured him yet.
We have either. He's
Yeah.
looking like he's 7 to 8.
Let's see. I'm gonna put you down here. About 7 feet.
Yeah, about 7 feet.
He's about 7 feet right now.
He's got a
So
little bit of growing to do still.
yeah, I'm curious if he'll get to full size because he was so malnourished. He might be stunted as a
Yeah.
result. But you know what? We'll get him as big as he wants to get, and we will use him as an ambassador here.
Yeah.
You are so sweet. I love this guy. Speaking of reticulated pythons, this is Murdoch. You haven't seen Murdoch in, I think, years on the channel.
Yeah.
We've had him this whole time, but he's just been hanging out and back. He moves a little bit too much for us to be able to use him in programs, but this was this your first retic?
Yes.
This was your very first,
Yep.
okay, Ed's very first reticulated python. Back when we first got into reptiles, Ed had a goal of breeding retics.
Yep.
Is that still the case?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so
We might breed him and Noodle once.
Noodle's
but
our other retic who you're gonna
would-
meet soon.
We wouldn't hatch all the eggs to begin with.
Maybe
and
hatch
then-
just a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is, again, another mainland retic, so he's gonna get big. He
Unless
is...
we get some super dwarf and pair him with that.
Oh, that
Then
could
we
work.
get 50% super dwarf.
That'd be kind of cool. Maybe we could do that. Murdoch here is 5, 6, 8 years old. We get him in 2017.
Ooh, yeah, probably
I bet
15,
he's...
16, or 17.
Yeah, I bet he's about 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And yeah, 8 to 10 years old. So he's a small adult, definitely still breeding size, but we were very careful to not do what's called power feeding him. A lot of people with large species of snakes will feed them a ton as babies because that will make them grow fast and it'll make them grow big, but it usually cuts their lifespan roughly in half, and we didn't want to do that just for a big snake.
No.
So he's not as big as he could be at this age,
Buddy.
but he's lean and he is a nice...
Lean, mean, and
He's not
whatever
mean.
else.
He's not mean.
No.
You're so cute. He's kind of dumb.
He's just wiggly.
Yeah, he just likes to move a lot. He loves to climb.
He likes to strike at glass when people walk by.
Oh yeah, he just thinks everything is food.
Yeah.
Again, he just really likes food. It's a common trait with a bunch of large species
Yeah.
of snakes. Now this one is big enough that you have to be careful holding him. He is a 2-person snake here at Snake Discovery because big retics like this sometimes don't know their own strength. And when they're climbing around, if he were to climb maybe like right here, he could unknowingly put me at risk.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do it intentionally, yeah. It
No.
would just be accidentally and a result of him just climbing around, honestly. But yeah, this is Murdoch, Ed's very first reticulated python. What morph is he?
He is a titanium tiger.
That's right, yes.
So he's a friendly tiger, too.
Oh, that's right, tiger
Tigers
morphs.
aren't normally friendly.
That's right, I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so he's unusually friendly for his morph. He's a really pretty morph, being titanium and tiger combination, and that's why Ed got him, was so he could make some really cool combos out of his babies,
Yeah.
right?
I was thinking about it, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, probably not anymore. If anything, again, we'll maybe incubate a couple eggs. But the intent, the original plan, was to breed him with our other reticulated python in back, who is Noodle. Noodle here is a golden child
Yep.
morph, and she is a little bit bigger than Murdoch, as you can see. They're about the same age, though. Didn't you get them, like, within months of each other?
Yeah.
They were just teeny tiny.
They were little teeny babies who could sit in the bottom of a deli cup.
Oh my gosh, they were that little.
Yeah,
oh
remember
my
Murdoch
gosh.
came home in I think it was a cottage cheese container.
Wasn't that Athena?
No, that was Murdoch.
Was it really? He was
Yeah.
that little, huh?
He was teeny.
Oh my gosh. As you can see, neither of these are very good as far as like ambassador quality.
level.
Yeah, because they move so much. But they're not mean at all. They
No.
just move a little too much, and they're a little too strong for us to let
Just gotta
kids
come
hold on to.
involved here.
Thank
There
you.
we go.
That's why I put my arm here. See,
Stop it.
they just don't know their own strength
exactly.
sometimes. In fact, she's pushing my thumb back. Okay,
Oh,
now we're good.
your hand was white.
Yeah, she was cutting off circulation. So that's why if you get a large species of snake, you need to have someone else with you when
Yeah.
you're handling them.
We have like an 8-foot rule here, so if it's much
Yes.
past 8 foot, you have to have 2 people, just
Yeah.
in case something happens, because you never know.
Yeah, exactly. The snakes aren't mean. They're not doing it intentionally, but they sometimes just climb in
But
again. Don't know their own
honestly,
strength.
her putting right here, coming around this way, and just pulling that way is enough force to cut off
It is.
the arteries, and then you pass out in a matter of minutes.
And if she wraps around kind of my
second.
chest area, you can feel the compression just of her hanging on and not intentionally squeezing, just holding on. It's tough to breathe with these big guys. That being said, again, she's a really nice reticulated python. She actually just ate before we took her out here. Both of these two eat a jumbo rat every few weeks.
Yep.
Probably, something like that.
They could move on to rabbits, but we have the rats, so.
And they have eaten rabbits. We've fed her a pheasant before.
Yep.
We've given them all sorts of things
Given them
just for
turkey.
variety. Yeah, turkey they've eaten. They've eaten chickens before. Guinea
Come here.
pigs. She's a big girl.
Yeah. She's nice and dark. She's getting darker with age.
She is.
She used to be like almost gold. Now she's like
You're
black.
right. Yeah, she's like iridescent too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the iridescence in her on camera, but it's kind of that shimmery rainbow effect you see in like
Oil slicks?
Yeah, oil slicks, exactly. She's really pretty. But the reason why we still have these two, even though we don't plan on using them in programs or really for breeding, is our retics, the two big ones in the zoo. You're gonna meet the second one here in a little bit. They're old, so eventually they're not gonna be with us anymore. So I think these two are gonna be our backups for the zoo.
Yep.
That's why we've been hanging on to them still, even though they don't really have
She wants to go hang out with Doug.
They are so strong.
Yeah, they are.
Look at that.
She's-
how far can she go?
She's probably about 11 to 12 feet, and
Yeah.
Murdoch's probably about 10.
And yes, we are gorillas fans.
Yes.
Next up, we have our albino Burmese python in our zoo. This is Amber. Amber, can you look towards the front? Amber is, again, an albino Burmese python. She was given to us by a friend who was getting out of the reptile hobby. And he thought, you know what, let's let her live at Snake Discovery.
Yeah.
So we took her in. She's a fantastic eater. And she is, how old? 6? Something like
yeah,
that?
something like that. We have a
6 or-
lot of young adult snakes, I
Yeah,
guess.
we really do. That's why I guess they're now
I think
are
she's
bigger.
5.
Maybe she's 5, a little bit
Yeah.
younger.
She's a little younger than Noodle and Murdoch.
That makes sense. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's, yeah, you're right, closer to 5, isn't she? This girl is very popular in our zoo because she's an
Yeah.
albino and because just the contrast in her color compared to the dark gray rock
Yep.
of her exhibit.
That was a strategic plan.
It sure was. We also strategically put her basking ledge right up front or in a good spot
There's the
where she'd be
basking.
visible. Basking
There's the
there.
spot.
We have a heat panel radiating heat down, so she is always on this ledge. She loves it. We also strategically angled her platform just a little bit so that she's angled towards people's vision and a little bit easier to see.
Kind of like when Tyrion was arrested and put in that jail cell where he's at a slope. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Nothing.
Is that a Game of Thrones thing?
Somebody will get a reference.
Okay, I don't. Anyway, we feed her every couple of weeks. She still has some growing to do. I don't think maybe she's a little fat, but she's still growing,
She's
so...
not that fat.
Yeah, she's not too bad. We've seen fat Burms before,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't, compared to those, I think she's actually a
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
think
weight.
She's a good weight.
She would, again, eat every day if we let her.
Yeah.
But
She's looking at that hook, like, can I eat that hook?
the first question she has when you open her enclosure is, do you have food for
Yeah,
me?
she definitely pokes her head out looking at you like, is this the time?
Yeah.
Am I lucky enough?
And this is that species that is not very bright. They have an
Yeah.
IQ of 2, I'm pretty sure.
But, I mean, that's why we love them, because they're not
Yes.
smart.
Yeah, if you look at their face, that's just kind of a dumb looking face, aren't
Yeah.
you? You're a dumb snake, but you're friendly as a result.
Friendly and cute.
Yeah, I'll take a dumb but friendly snake over a smart but angry one any day.
Yes.
We have 2 enclosures left that we want to show you. The first of which is Sushi, our sunrise
Reticulated
sunset.
python?
She's a certain morph. She looks normal, but we're told that she's some kind of morph.
Yeah.
But we just refer to her as our normal reticulated
Yep.
python here in the zoo to compare her to the albino next door.
Is there a reason you got a hook in your hand still?
There is a reason. Sushi here is not as friendly as our other larger snakes. Maybe not
She's not-
friendly.
no.
She just, again, really likes food.
She likes to, fight first and ask questions later.
Yeah, we have a little anaconda like that. Hi, girl. Oh, she's gonna be great
yeah,
right now.
never
Okay,
mind.
never mind. I guess she's being fantastic today. Hey, girly girl! She came with Baby Spice, our albino retic, so she's another very original snake to the Snake Discovery Zoo. She's been in here the entire time. This is the only snake that's ever lived in this enclosure. And she also is in her mid-20s. She has a very similar background to Baby Spice. In fact, that she actually came with the name Scary Spice.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're trying to not have snakes sound scary. We're trying to make snakes more approachable to kids and families.
Yeah, so we don't want to be like, look how scary this snake is.
A name with scary in it is probably not the best for
And we
our
also
situation.
understand it was one of the Spice Girls, but still.
Not everyone's gonna know that and think
they're just gonna
scary.
be like, oh, look at the scary snake.
Yeah, so we renamed her to Sushi because she would coil up and look like a roll of sushi when we first got her. She is the second largest snake in our zoo, I think. I think she's technically a little smaller than Baby Spice. She's about 16 feet long and only about 100 to 110 pounds,
Depending on
maybe.
what she eats and when she eats.
Speaking of, she has right here the remnants of what was a 10-pound rabbit. She ate actually the same weekend that Baby Spice did, so they're both digesting right now. But she has a similar setup, just kind of the reverse, in that up here we have a radiant heat panel for her, we have a basking light in the front, and one on the other side just to increase ambient temperature, but this is her warm ledge. She does, of course, have some shed skin just sitting on her ledge, but we're not too worried about that. As long as it's off of her, that's really all we care about. We do come through and pick it up when we can, but a lot of the scales they like disintegrate scale by scale.
Yeah.
So
retics hardly ever shed in one piece, or at least large retics.
Yeah, they like to kind of explode when it comes to shedding.
Yeah.
But you're a good
She's
girl.
still a good girl.
Yeah. Little Huffy.
She always hangs out right in this spot. She's hardly ever not in this spot.
Yeah, she never hides, do you? Yeah, you're a good girl. We love you, Sushi. And last but not least, we have our beautiful pair of rescued Argentine boas. I have Phoenix, our female, on my shoulders. And
I have Ember over here.
Ember is our male, and these guys are in their mid-20s, but they have a pretty sad past, like a lot of our other rescues. These two survived a pretty detrimental house fire.
It wasn't any fault of the owners of this. I think somebody next door lit their mattress on fire and it went and started burning down their porch.
Yeah, and then a piece flew over. Yeah, so these two thankfully survived a terrible house fire, but they do have some scars as a result.
Yeah, hers aren't as bad.
No, she has a couple of fused melted scales here, but
and like some on her neck there.
Yeah, not
too
bad.
Not terribly. Now Ember on the other hand is
Ember here is missing part of his face as a result of the fire, but he eats fine. They're healed up as much as they're going to be after a bunch of antibiotics.
And they had a clutch for us.
Yeah, they had a beautiful
2
litter.
years ago. So
they're every other year breeders.
Yeah, so maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think she's grabbed.
Well, that's what she looked like at first, and we were like, maybe. And then, 8 months later, she finally gave us babies.
We'll see. They're up there in age, though, so we'll see if they're going to breed for us again. And even if they don't, that's okay. These are a gorgeous species of snake, and we love having them in our zoo. By the way, if you want to check in on the Argentine boas from your house, you can do so on the Snake Discovery Twitch stream.
Yeah, there's a camera right up
there.
here somewhere.
It's on 24/7, so you can kind of toggle between 4 different cameras in our zoo.
You can see the zoo by looking at that camera right there.
Yeah, and one of the cameras is the Argentine boas, which we installed when we were expecting babies from her. And then she gave birth, and we received so many calls from Twitch stream watchers right when she gave birth. It was an exciting day. But that's going to wrap up today's video of our largest snakes at Snake Discovery. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments which one was your favorite from today's video. I think I'm torn between Doug, because we go back so far, and Chica, because she's such a sweetheart.
I like Baby.
Baby Spice?
Yeah, she's one
a good
of my
one
favorites.
too.
She's just a big girl.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of people to handle her.
Let us know which one is your favorite. Thank you, Patreon backers, for your endless support as always, and we'll see you next time.